Hey, listener, what's up? Thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. We lead off by checking in on the Star Wars Last Jedi box office and some news about the Han Solo spinoff. Then it's our full spoiler review of the first season of Marvel's Punisher on Netflix. Joining us is the Ginger Geek himself, Matt Delhauer, and he's got a special announcement at the end of the episode, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Thursday, December 28th, 2017.
Push the goddamn button.
Check. Check one. All right. This is ruling fans out there. Let's give it up. We're talking, we nerded. We're funny, disturbing. We're talking, we nerded. We're spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We're talking, we nerded. We're funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. I'm talking, we nerded. We're spoiler alert. Give it up.
Hey, listener, what's happening? Welcome to another episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And he's the Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? Good Earth to you.
Good Earth to you, and what's up, motherfuckers?
How's it going? Also joining us on this episode is the official Ginger Geek of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. It's Matt Delhauer. What's up, buddy?
Hey, everybody.
Ruggs, shut up. I'm trying to introduce Matt.
Okay.
No, that wasn't my Rugboy impression.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, no, that was just me being a jackass.
Okay, cool.
You should try it like more like game show hosty. Give me a hey everybody with it's more game showy.
Oh shit, I don't even.
Hey everybody.
Big and beautiful, Delhauer.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, right. Just okay. You know what? Oh God. All right. So
Imran will do it.
I
Imran,
like
do
the way
it.
you
Show-
did it, but how about you do it completely different? Let's just start over. Let's just hit the button.
That's the
Hit the button and
director
go
and
again.
me just taking over.
No one can stop play on this record. We're continuing
Welcome,
on.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
There
This
we
is better.
go.
There you go.
Matt Delhauer. All right, look, we're moving on. Thanks for joining us, Delhauer, for this wonderful show.
Nerdhauer.
It's the Nerd Hour with Delhauer.
This will be like 3 hours,
Whoa.
so it's not actually.
Yeah, it'll be multiple hours. Look, if you are a new listener and this is the first time you press play on one of these Jock and Nerd podcast
Stop
things,
right now.
please
and go home.
put the podcast down.
You
Step
don't know
back
what you've done.
slowly. Your sanity will be in question, but we thank you. And guys, what do we do here? First time listener, you press play. What can they expect? What's that? What do we do?
Oh, can I say it?
Yes,
Yeah,
you do
Matt,
it for
do
me,
it.
please.
Okay. This is where you will be able to experience news, reviews, and interviews about all your favorite geeky topics.
Not bad.
Not bad. Okay,
Not bad.
you can
I like
workshop
it.
that a little. Needs a little more of the gibberish thrown in, but
Needs more.
there we go.
Yeah,
it needs more cowbell as well.
It needs more. I got a fever. Look, we geek out about what we love, and that's comic books and superheroes, the modern day mythology. This particular show, we're going to start off with a little bit of news, and then
We are?
yes, because
Oh, fuck.
look, we got to follow up from our
It's
last
just
show.
like 15 or 16 recommendations. Don't worry about it.
It's only
That's deep cuts
I
right
cut
there.
it down to 20 bullet points. Look, we got to follow up. Check out our last show, our Star Wars Last Jedi review. We got a little bit of follow up. We'll check into the box office. It's very interesting. But we will give you our a month late.
Can I give a shout out, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, continue, and I'll find. I have to read what this guy wrote on my wall.
Okay.
He wrote me a happy birthday and then wrote something about the Star Wars thing.
Okay. So we.
Oh, no.
We are going to give you finally only a month and some change late our full spoiler review of Marvel's The Punisher.
No one remembers
what I
it.
remember of
Or
the
what
Punisher.
we remember on Netflix, because literally I watched this over a month ago. I
Yeah.
hope somebody brought notes. I don't
All right, I got
fucking
this.
remember. Yeah, Anthony, you got a message from a buddy from your wall?
Yeah, Austin Strayjack, who
Austin,
also
yes.
disagreed
With our
vehemently
wrestling,
with
yes.
our pro wrestling take.
Yes, I remember him.
Especially Imran and Rugboy.
Yes.
Happy 30th, buddy. For your present, I listened to your latest podcast and disagree with most of your trash Star Wars takes. There you go.
Oh, shit. All right. Thanks for your honest opinion, Austin. We appreciate
I bet we have a listener for life now.
Happy birthday, dude, you fucking asshole idiot.
How's that for a birthday? Happy belated birthday. But look, this is the last show of 2017.
Holy smoke.
Everybody, we squeezed in one last review, so Happy New Year. Even though
I think for now that I've turned 30 for my New Year's, I'm gonna like stay in and go to sleep before like the countdown even
that's what I've
happens.
been doing for the past 15 odd years.
Have
You know?
yourself a nice,
Does it
sensible
count that
meal.
Rex doesn't even make it.
I'm gonna watch to see if Mariah Carey bombs again trying to sing because she's like 75 years old and can't sing in a falsetto anymore.
But her breasts are only 20.
Boy, Nick Cannon really misses those breasts, I bet. What do you
They're
think?
done, right? They've been done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for a while.
Nick Cannon has got his cannon between all new, younger breasts right now.
So
Maybe.
look, Happy New Year for everyone, but really I stay in too because it's just like a non-event. Like the clock ticks down, the thing comes down, what happens? Fucking nothing. What is the point?
Y2K, bud.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen either.
18 years later. It was the long con.
I am still prepared.
I did sell a lot of Y2K gallons of water on the street that
But
morning.
it's different this year because we have proof of aliens.
Yes, the government is tracking aliens, and we had the holidays. And listener, you may have gotten like a new smartphone or one of them fancy Alexa, Google Home smart audio devices. Well, guess what? You can find the Jock and Nerd podcast on all those devices. We are now on Spotify. So if you've got an Android phone, this really is the easiest way to listen to the podcast. Just go to jockandnerd.com/Spotify. It will take you to our Spotify page, and you can find us wherever you find podcasts. You could tell Alexa, play the Jock and Nerd podcast.
But can you tell Alexa, find Rugboy?
I don't know.
I wanna listen to Rugboy.
I
Can you
don't
go,
know.
Alexa, suck my dick?
You could say that, and Alexa, you could say it to Siri, and she blushes.
Does she?
Yes, it's very true.
I ultimately just recommend not having one of those things because it listens to you and records everything you
Yes,
say 24
correct.
hours a day.
Especially now that, it's $30. Let's everybody buy one.
Doesn't your cell phone do the same thing?
Probably,
it
but-
also does. But why put another device that's always listening? Who knows who's listening?
What if you like an audience?
Well, there you go. If you got nothing to hide.
Then start a
It
porn
kind of
site.
turns me on, to be honest. Honestly.
Ooh, they're listening,
Typical
baby.
millennial response.
Look at the Alexa over there. I think it's listening to
I
us.
love it. It's
I
a
think she's
typical
listening.
millennial response. Yet the youngest one here is the one who's like, "Fucking government's listening to you, man. You can't trust anybody."
But you're not a millennial. You're something else, aren't you?
No, I'm a millennial. I'm 28.
He's a ginger.
He's a ginger. That just
doesn't
that
count.
trumps everything.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that goes over everything else.
He's got a fire
That
crotch.
trumps everything.
Speaking of the ginger, Delhauer has a very big announcement, and he is
I
going
got a
to.
very big something.
He's got a very big something, and this is the tease. So make sure you listen to the end of the
And
show.
I'll tease you with it.
Listener, and we will tease you with a huge
Now
Delhauer
no one wants to listen.
announcement. And there goes everybody. Okay, it's just us guys. Let's get on with the news.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
This might tease to get people to stay to the end, but if you want to get in touch with the show, listener, visit our website. jockandnerd.com/contact will get you all the ways to get in touch with us: Twitter, Facebook, email, SpeakPipe, and our Facebook group. Also, show notes, jockandnerd.com/201. All these links are in the show notes. We got to welcome a new guy to the Facebook group, John Magette. And he was our last week's patron. He's the guy who I called John Maggot. That's not how
Of course you did.
That's not how you say his name. So John was nice enough to comment and give me an official reading of his name. He wrote, "It's Magat like Zagat. Magat like Zagat. How do you say Zagat? Zagat?
Zagat.
Zagat. So it's Magat like Zagat. But I understand. My name isn't exactly that common. But come on, Anthony. I think you'd recognize the Filipino name if you saw one."
Oh, he's Filipino.
Wrong.
I would recognize a
Have you tried
Pakistani
to
name.
read Anthony's last name?
Yes, but Anthony should recognize the Filipino last name. Don't
That's
you
a real
agree?
laugh.
He is his name. He's Filipino. I'm asking seriously.
I think so because
I
it's,
haven't even. I mean, I
Magat.
haven't looked at his profile.
I mean, if he's getting upset about it, I'd say sure.
Apparently,
Oh, he's upset.
Or he's fucking.
not.
No, I don't think he's upset.
He's not
I think
because
fucking
he's just.
Don't listen to my first episode where I coined
Yeah.
the phrase Filipinas.
Hashtag Filipinas. That's a deep cut.
Filipinas.
Also, Lisa Morrison commented on our 200th episode. She says, "I'm enjoying these podcasts even more now that you keep mentioning Steve and I. Congrats on 200, boys. Looking forward to
another
the
mention.
next 200.
If that's what we need to keep you listening, Imran, you're all for cheap
Steve and
plugs.
Lisa
Keep
Morrison.
going.
Listen,
I'm super narcissistic.
I'm gonna.
I love this podcast now that more that you talk about me.
Listen, I love Steve and Lisa Morrison. They're a married couple. They both support us on Patreon. They both listen. She's the jock. He's the nerd. Just like I picture one day she's giving him swirlies and wedgies, and the next day they're holding hands
I'm not
and
mentioning
looking
this
into
one.
each other's eyes.
Nope.
I love the Morrisons. So, look, let's get into the news. Like I said, our last show, Star Wars.
That was the news.
That's it. No more news. Star Wars Last Jedi review that Austin did not care for. And there's probably some other people out there that didn't care for it. Fuck them. It's fine. Delhauer, I got to thank you. You sent in an audio mini review after we recorded. I put it on the Patreon for our lovely Patreon supporters. But real quick, give me your thoughts on the movie and what kind of reiterate what you suggested in your audio there.
Oh, I loved it.
Let me give you this.
Spoiler alert.
Just in case. Go ahead.
Spoiler, I loved it.
Okay.
Hey, fuck all of y'all that think we always agree. We have someone that disagrees with us.
See?
Yeah. No, and I told Imran, I was like, dude, 2 hours of listening to you guys just be like, fuck this movie. I'm like, I mean, I get it, but I don't like this is a long time to say that.
Well, that's just because Imran loves to talk, and we just
No,
keep going.
I
and
understand.
going.
I've been here before, at least once.
Yes.
What do you mean? This is the thing that perplexes me. It's like you literally your thing is
My
what
thing
the
is
fuck
to shit on
happens?
stuff, I know.
Yes. So
No,
it's
I
like
get that, I
you
get
can't
that.
you can't find it in your heart to shit on this movie.
Oh, absolutely, I can. There are still problems.
Well,
I
like,
love it, but I recognize that
this
there
is
are
what-
absolutely flaws.
This is what my argument is. I'm not trying to get into a huge argument here. I just want to make a simple statement. Is that I understand that you need to burn everything down in order for the new generation to take hold, and you need to like open it up for whatever. I understand that. But you have 2 episodes left in the Skywalker thing. Why do it there? There's only 2 episodes left to tell this guy's story. Why introduce it there and upset all those people that have been waiting for this story to end? Well, that's my big sticking point.
The big thing that I noticed, and I'll try to keep this very brief because obviously I don't want to go into like 3 hours of Last Jedi and our 2 hours of Punisher, is the one thing that Imran wanted me to say that I said on the Patreon was when I saw it the first time, I was not the happiest. I liked it, but I kind of sat there for a while being like, I don't know what the hell I just watched, and I really kind of need to think about it. And I wound up thinking about it like fucking obsessively for the next 3 days before I saw it a second time. And the second time around, I liked it a lot more. And I think it's because what I came to realize is the new trilogy that they're making is a lot more meta narrative than anything else has been before. A lot of it is talking not only just about the story that's going on, but also Star Wars as a concept in a whole.
Yes.
And one of the big things I recognize is that while this movie first comes off as basically saying like, fuck Star Wars, burn down Star Wars, you know, you don't need the past, just make a new future. That's not really what it's saying, in the fact that that's just what's yelling more often. That's the Kylo Ren storyline is, I don't need the past, fuck it, I'll burn it down. But he's not supposed to be the one that we're following. It's Rey. And Rey's whole idea is, I'm not going to get rid of the past. I'm going to take the best parts of it, embrace those, and forge my own path that maybe I will fail on, but at least I'm doing something that's kind of a mixture of both.
Well, you can see that she got the books and she took the books with her.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was very proud of with this movie is the moment with Yoda is the whole moment this movie is about. Because Luke is going to go burn down the books because he thinks, fuck it, the Jedi have failed, I've failed, all of this is stupid, we can't do this anymore. But Yoda burns down the tree instead to hide the fact that Rey already took it. She's taken the knowledge of the past with her to go off and build a new future. And he's stopping Luke from noticing that and trying to stop her. He then later on says to Luke, the big moment is when he says to him, the biggest burden of being a master is that they're always going to outgrow us. And that's Star Wars. The original trilogy was brilliant and amazing. Everyone loves it. But it can't always be that. It has to move forward and become something new.
Does it have to come at the expense of Luke Skywalker's story?
But it's really not at the expense of his story. One of the things that you have to notice is that we are looking at Luke Skywalker in nostalgia.
He's going to be like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next movie. It could either go, they completely have just Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost, and they showed that the Force ghost could intervene, But to not have him there in corporeal form, being able to do one last cool lightsaber battle or something like that, just to go out on that note. Like, even Han Solo did something Han Solo-y, in the other, but, he was shooting people with that crossbow or whatever. He was doing cool shit.
At the same time, Luke did do something very Luke. Because when he first meets Rey, his statement to her was, I'm not going to go out there with a laser sword and fight the whole First Order. And then when he arrives at the end, it's exactly what he does. But it's not actually Luke. It's the Luke that everyone needs him to be, not who he actually turned out to be.
I don't know. I just think that we're not having that actual Luke there, completing the story, then dying into the third movie, him dying in the second movie and not being there in earnest. I think that's I understand they could figure out a way to bring him in some way as a ghost and something that intervenes, but it's not the same to me. I just think that's a
big part of
opportunity.
That problem is because technically this new trilogy isn't his story. He was coming in from the previous one, but like Obi-Wan being a main part of the prequel trilogy.
I disagree with that as well. Because after the Return of the Jedi, they interviewed George Lucas and they interviewed a lot of people, and he was saying that he's going to tell 3 stories in the beginning and 3 at the end, and it's going to be a 9-part trilogy.
These are not his stories, clearly, but look,
it is still the Skywalker saga, because if you think about it, Ben Solo is still part of that family. It's just now he's actually the antagonist instead of the hero.
I love Star Wars.
The man, thanks Anthony, thanks for that favor. The man, if anything, he has made a Star Wars movie that's got people watching, and not only that, it's got him going back to the theater multiple times. Here is the
not
current
enough though
box office.
Yeah,
it's these are impressive numbers. As of December 27, in 13 days of release, it has made $445 million domestically. Worldwide, sitting at $892 million.
Oh, shit.
Already in 13 days. Now, there was a huge drop on that first weekend, Christmas weekend, 69% drop.
Great number.
Yes, love 69.
Nice.
That's the best number ever, even if it's a drop. But they're still saying it's expected to finish with $1.6
It's supposed to make 2 point something billion though.
It's not. I don't think it's going to make 2.6, but because that's what
they wanted it to make.
That's what Force Awakens
the long
made.
run projection was very high, and it's not going to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, we figured it wasn't going to make Force Awakens
still
money.
Still gonna.
I was gonna say, it's nothing to fucking.
This is the thing. You turn on. I don't care what the highfalutin.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit. Apologist, whatever reason. The thing is, if you turn on YouTube and you just search The Last Jedi, all you're going to get is Last Jedi sucks videos.
Hate
That's all
speech.
you're going to do.
You're going to get hate speech
all you're
from
gonna get.
Star Wars Nazis.
So it's like the overwhelming opposition to this movie is palpable.
So-
and you have to acknowledge it. at
This-
least.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Whoa,
Look, I thought you
yeah.
didn't know shit about Star Wars, Anthony.
Welcome.
You're pulling.
I just said I love Star Wars.
He did. He yelled it very loudly.
Yes,
I
He
heard.
loves
did.
palpitating teens.
Oh, that's different.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
Oh,
different.
shit.
30 now. 30 now. I start liking teenagers.
You can't do
Is that
that.
how it works in
You never.
Hollywood?
I don't think you ever
works.
stopped.
That's true.
Yeah.
This quote from Forbes is interesting about how much money it dropped. He says, Rian Johnson's Star Wars The Last Jedi lost more money between its first and second weekends than any film ever by a lot. Last Jedi made $151 million less between its first 2 weekends, which is way above the 121 gap from Harry Potter Part 2 and Force Awakens, $149 million in 2015. But $151 million between weekend difference. That's a lot. Is this thing even it'll crack $1 billion, but I feel like the word of mouth is slowing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
It is the top grossing movie, took this top spot from Wonder Woman that was sitting there with 892. It's already the top grossing.
Hey man, like everybody was guns a-blazing going to see this movie. Everybody was strapped in, ready to go for this fucking shit.
Yeah, you knew opening weekend was going to be fucking huge.
Yeah.
220 million, and it's like third already in rank of Star Wars movies behind The Force Awakens and Rogue One.
Like I think it's getting repeat viewings because people are like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" I need to make up my mind, like Matt did.
Yeah,
That's what I did. Yeah.
But I think that'll be it. I think the second time they'll make up their mind. Maybe they'll go again if they still really like it. So,
I think ultimately my final thought on it is, so we can get into Punisher. A lot of people really don't like it right now, and that's going to probably last for a while. I think it's probably not going to be until after 9 comes out, and then a lot of time, maybe some time after that has passed, that you can view all three of them as a whole, that it may get a little bit more.
I agree with that 100%.
appreciation.
Because if they figure out a way to make that fit like a nice piece of the puzzle, then all is forgiven. And in fact, people will look at it as a great movie later. But right now, when you don't know if Ryan Johnson's not going to complete this, J.J. Abrams is going to. And Ryan Johnson derailed a lot of J.J. Abrams stuff.
Yeah, what does he do? What does J.J. do now?
It's going to be, I'm sure they could stitch it back together, but it's going to be a rough road.
Ultimately, I look forward to this very long discussion in the Patreon.
But I believe Empire Strikes Back initially also had the same kind of reaction, and now that movie, like, everyone's like, that's the best movie. But over time, do you think this movie it'll be a different thing, possibly?
Well, because Return of the Jedi redeems it.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what the third one does. Now, the next Star Wars movie we're getting in just 5 months is this Han Solo movie. Reshot by Ron Howard. And it's weird because, Ruggs, you mentioned a few weeks ago, like, there's no buzz about this movie. No one really seems to be talking about it. Turns out, I think even the studio is bracing for this movie to bomb, from an article from Screen Geek. They have a source close to the film's production has informed us. It says Disney is bracing themselves for the Han Solo movie to bomb. They were worried about it before all the Last Jedi controversy. Now they're essentially writing Solo off. The lead actor, Alden Ehrenreich, can't act, and they had a dialogue coach on hand for all of his scenes. On top of that, the script is unworkable. It's going to be a car crash. I would thought there would have been a trailer before The Last Jedi. We haven't seen anything. This is very precarious, this whole...
Have you guys seen the poster that came out for it?
Yes. So... apparently, have you seen this image? It's gold from
I'm
Russian...
wondering what Daenerys is doing in this film.
Yes, Emilia Clarke. So you got Emilia Clarke and Lando Calrissian.
I'll tell you what she's doing in this film.
What is she doing?
She was told it's a Star Wars movie. It's gonna make fucking money.
Yes, get in it. You see Chewbacca, you see like an old-ass Millennium Falcon with blue, but Disney has said this is not official. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's all right. I guess I'm kind of glad it's not official, but...
I think the weird thing is he doesn't look like Han Solo.
No.
He looks like Nathan Fillion from Firefly.
He does have a very
he does kind of look like
Firefly look. This...
Which is based on Han Solo.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We should have a trailer soon. I think I heard something trailer maybe after the new year.
If that trailer comes out and it looks cool, then the buzz will begin.
Yes. I'm already feeling a train wreck of a thing. This should be fun.
I hate to say it, just of everything in this poster, just the fact that like Chewbacca has like a hand on his shoulder and is leaning into the frame.
His head's tilted like, hello.
It's got this like goofy 90s teen comedy look to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like there's like some plot details about it's going to be before he was like a wise ass rascal, like how he. So it's just
like the whole story is going to be Han Solo needs to lose his virginity before the Kessel Run.
I got too much stress. I can't make this run, Chewie. You got to find me somebody. We'll see the Kessel Run. We'll see him meet Chewie.
I'm so excited for Han Solo. I can't wait.
Man, they're making enough money on Force Awakens. They're like, you know what? This movie is whatever. Just don't put it out there. We won't put out a trailer until like the day before it comes out. It's fine. Take a hit. But I'll be surprised how much money that movie will make.
Insider analysis. They don't care if they make money.
They don't care.
Except they do.
Oh,
nobody cares.
That is how capitalism works.
Capitalism.
That was you, the whole Justice League review. They don't care if they even make any money. They really don't care.
They still made $5 billion with them other movies that were a little bit better. So, no, they care.
How Anthony is the anti-podcaster. He's kind of like the Punisher. He's the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Finally, last thing.
I'm not what you're looking for, but I'm what you need.
Yes.
I'm what you need. You got to say it in a gravelly voice. Finally, last thing. Happy birthday. To
me? Oh, thank you.
Well, happy belated birthday to you.
Again?
You had the shitty after Christmas birthday again. But
again,
to the legendary father of a lot of our favorite comic book heroes and Marvel Comics, Stan Lee, who today, Thursday, December 28th, turns 95.
Oh, shit.
Holy
shit.
Christ. So that means when he created Spider-Man, he was fucking 40 years old. So there's still,
Imran,
yes,
there's still hope for you.
There's still hope for us old guys, Ruggs.
Oh shit!
He was 40. So far, almost half his life, he had been toiling in obscure, shitty comics that really did nothing, romance comics, and he's about to quit. And his wife was like, "Look, make one last thing that you love.
Do something.
Do something with your life, you fucker." and
stop complaining and fucking do it.
And it's funny when you look at old photos of him from like the 50s, like he's balding and he's very clean cut, and then all of a sudden he's got a lot of wavy hair and this big mustache, and it never leaves. There must have been some plugs involved because all of a sudden he has more hair than he does in the previous photos. But man, 95.
I love that you're studying his hair.
Unbelievable. Like, it's just because I watched that. You look at these photos, and all of a sudden it's like he's balding in front, and all of a sudden he's got all this fucking wavy hair, like in the 70s. He's 70s it up. So happy birthday, Stan. He made it.
Everyone just wants to know his secret.
Really? How are you still alive at 95?
How are you alive? How did you get the hair?
How did you get the hair?
That's what I was trying to say.
Yes. If I had Stanley's hair, I'd be so jealous. Okay.
Your hair reminds. Occasionally, I've never said this on a show, but you look like Shemp from the Three Stooges.
Yes, yeah,
with your hair.
Why? Oh, wise guy. No, Shemp had more hair than I do right now.
Does.
It wasn't as thinning, but I should grease it up.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ, it's like a fucking...
Could you shave your head bald, or would you?
I would, but I don't trust bald white guys. I really don't. I can't. I hate that look. It's just like...
You don't want to be mistaken for a skinhead or
There's
something.
the skinhead thing. I know a lot of really nice white guy, bald guys that are nice, but I know a lot of guys that are dicks, and you look at them and they just look like Dr. Evil. Like, it's just not a good look.
It's a whole blowback from Breaking Bad. Now
That's
every
part of
bald
it.
white
Lex
dude's a
Luthor?
meth maker.
Oh, I think Lex Luthor, he started it way back when.
No one reads comic
No,
books,
that's
Imran.
a good point. Speaking of no one reading comic books, they watch the TV shows, which, like The Punisher on Netflix. Let's get to the review. Here's spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Okay. Punisher created by Jerry Conway, John Romita Sr., Ross Andrew, 1974. First appearance, Amazing Spider-Man 129. Anthony, how's that copy of that 129 doing you have?
Oh, I have it. That
You
is
got it
right.
all in the CGC
I
case,
got it
right?
in a
Minted?
CG, not a case, but I got it in one of those bags that is supposed to be a lot better.
The nice Mylar.
The nice Mylar bag. Yep. One day I will give it to my child, who will then throw it away.
It will pay.
I will give it to my child, who will then put their head in the bag and die.
I was thinking about, like, because I'm 30 now, that my sperm is like not good, so I need to like birth a child really quickly.
Shit,
Yeah,
your biological
yeah.
clock's kicking in.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm already considering that. I named my daughter already. Her name is going to be Magdalena Elena.
Oh,
It
wow.
was my last name. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very pretty.
But I'm gonna find like an Asian woman to birth this child with.
Okay.
So then I have this real Euro sounding name, but she doesn't look anything like her name. That's what I want.
Oh, what if you have a boy?
Magdalena Elena is still gonna be his name as
What?
well.
It
Yeah.
could be both? Okay.
You know, we're just rolling with it.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
a thought that just
Why gender
crossed my
someone?
mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Why
Yeah,
gender
you piece
someone?
of shit.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Francis could be a boy,
I
could be
have
a
to
girl.
continue the bloodline, and I'm 30 now, so it's almost over.
There can be only one Jock.
Now, Anthony, is there any other? You have brothers or sisters?
No, it's me.
Oh, it's all
I'm carrying
up
the
to
torch.
you. That's a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, you
I
gotta
know.
carry on
And my
the
sperm is
bloodline.
not good
Yeah.
How do you know?
because I'm 30.
People spit it out all the time. All right.
I don't spit it out. I swallow it.
I was talking about other people.
Oh, shit. I was talking about me. I'm like Marilyn Manson. I took out a rib.
Well, you didn't save some of yours when you were 18 for the future, you know?
Well,
it's
you
an
don't think
investment.
about these things when you're 18.
Oh,
you think
no,
you're
you
going to
don't.
live
Shoot it
forever.
into space.
This is what you do. Take your socks,
Yeah.
wet them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
strain them into a thing.
Does it work 30 years later? It's like
Yeah,
sperm's
Whatever
still good?
towels you have laying around that are
It's like an
crunchy.
isotope, right? It's got a half-life.
I wish I
Walked
had.
into like a wall, like a 7-Eleven the other day. I saw like Extends. I'm like, do I need that? I think I might need that.
What is that? Is that like Viagra?
Yeah, basically.
Get the Extends, get the
Oh.
I'm
Depends.
like, do I need that?
Buy that walker at the CVS. You'll need
You
all
won't
these
need
things.
it until you're like 33. You got 3 years.
3 years left. All right.
Save
then
that
it starts
sperm.
it takes a sharp turn downward.
Okay.
Save the good sperm for your lineage. Holy shit. Okay, look, what are we talking about? The
What the
Punisher.
fuck? How did this come up?
Rotten
All right, go ahead.
Tomatoes average tomato meter 62%. Audience score 93%.
Oh, audience liked it way more.
Audience liked it more than
Like a way
the
reverse Star
critics.
Wars.
Yes. So if everything is a reverse.
Somebody say
fucking
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Sorry.
Don't say that Star Wars. This show run by Steve Lightfoot. And it's, of course, got John Bernthal in the starring role. And you got Karen Page showing up. Again, Ben Barnes is Billy Russo. A bunch of other people. We'll get to them. You meet a lot of people. But let's do what we usually do. Opening thoughts. What we liked, what we didn't like. And since, Anthony, you saw this the most recently, why don't you refresh everyone's memory? Opening thoughts, season 1 of The Punisher on Netflix.
Sorry, guys, for making you guys wait.
It's okay. Look, we waited. Now everyone has a chance to watch it. So, more people have seen it now.
Right. Overall, I actually really like the show. It did suffer from being a little too long. I thought the middle was a little slow, a lot slow. But overall, John Bernthal, I love him as a Punisher, and I liked the PTSD coming back from being in a war. I liked that whole angle. I like that they played that up. So I like that he wasn't just a machine either. I like that. So overall, I mean, we'll get into more specifics, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I think I liked it. It's the most enjoyable Netflix show from Marvel that I've seen since Daredevil season 2.
Right on. Okay, Delhauer, why are you opening thoughts?
I really enjoyed the show. I'm trying to remember what happened.
You enjoyed about it.
There was a guy, and he didn't. Honestly, while I know that this is probably going to be another discussion, I think one of the things I really liked about it was that it was refreshingly a bit different than what I expected, and what Punisher tends to be. While I wouldn't have turned down a show that was entirely just like 13 episodes of John Bernthal shooting people and screaming, I'm glad that they tried to have a little bit more of an intrigue storyline, and as well as an ending that was very unexpected.
Yeah. All right. Also, to the listener, if it sounds like there's a party going on behind Delhauer in the other room, it's because his fucking roommates are loud. So I apologize. Just let it go.
That was very distracting.
Just ignore it. I'll try to get rid of most of it in post.
All right, let's
opening thoughts.
It feels like the Punisher needs to go to Delhauer's house right now and take care of business. What do I think about the Punisher? I think it was a very well-crafted show. As Anthony said, it was slow. I would have preferred a little bit more action, just a tad more. Just a little bit more, like, seeing Frank at his best. It's not the Punisher that I would have made, but it's good on its own. I feel like that it veered off to a different way, presenting the story than I would have liked. But you know what? They did it well. And as long as they do it well and they get there eventually, I'm good. So that's that.
As long as you get there eventually, I'm always good. As long as I get there.
Yeah.
I also really, really enjoyed this episode, this whole season. It's fucking visceral and brutal. Bernthal is intense. And a lot like Elektra, they did their version of the Punisher, and I think it works. It's consistent with the world. They changed a little bit of the things, but dealing with the topical themes of PTSD and coming back from war and people who can't deal with it. It was great, and I thought the action ramped up great till the end. And really fucking one of the stronger ones. Definitely,
it's a new version of the Punisher.
It's its own version. Definitely, they change a little bit of the origin, but man, it works. They're consistent with what they've set up, and it's a great standalone season without even having to watch any of the other series. You can enjoy this retelling of this origin. So let's just move in to what worked. Who wants to go first? Delhauer muted his audio.
Delhauer muted his audio.
I'm trying to cut out people yelling as much as I can.
It's fine.
What's going on over there? Just watching TV? What are they doing over there?
Apparently, my roommate's got a bunch of different like board games and card games and
now
shit
they
for
are
Christmas. So now it's just this big orgy.
There you go.
It's an eyes wide shut situation.
Now that you've explained it, the listener can just go along with it.
Right.
Yeah, he's having an eyes wide shut orgy, and we're keeping him from it because he's on the stupid podcast.
And I bought a mask and everything.
You'll be able to catch the tail end when everyone's spent. It won't be as fun.
Baltic.
I got Baltic Avenue. Rugs, give me something else you really like. What worked for you in this show?
Okay, so basically what worked is, I think that the whole, idea of him teaming up with Microchip and that whole thing, and the fact that he had, the way that the story was woven into the whole network of his friends and everybody was kind of tied into this. And normally I hate that shit.
Yeah, it's written well.
But it was written in a way where it made more sense. Like that, okay, all these guys that he was in the thing with, they're all a part of this cover-up. And he was just dealing with it. So it was cool like that. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed just the acting.
Bernthal is amazing.
The acting was really, really on a high level for the most part. There were some sexy scenes.
There were some booby scenes.
Yeah, there was some like grab ass going on, so that's also fun.
But even the sex scenes were used for moments, for dramatic moments, and I thought they were both used well, like where Lieberman and his wife fuck in the bathroom just out of like...
I want to comment on the microchip without this kind of storyline.
Yeah.
I'd never really understood how he would have found a microchip.
Right. Who would help this fucking psychopath voluntarily?
It's just kind of like, out of left field. Like, oh, he has this guy that's a tech guy.
Yeah, right? This makes so much sense.
But the way they wrote this in, as Rugboy said, it felt organic to the story, and it felt like, oh, this guy kind of makes sense why they would become together. And then the chemistry between the two was really well done.
Arguing like an old married couple.
Yeah, like a married couple.
Oh, it's so funny.
The scenes with them, and then like the scenes where like Frank is basically hitting on his wife,
yes.
or like replacing his family with Lieberman's family.
Yeah, while he's watching on the monitors.
I would like watch, and I'd be there with Lieberman or Microchip, whatever you want to call him, and I'd be like, oh man,
it's bad.
This is super uncomfortable.
Man. It was really cringy for some.
I mean, he kissed his wife, and then he comes back, and they get drunk.
Well, she had good, that actress, or whatever her name is, had really good chemistry with Bernthal too.
Yep.
So I was like, man, I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, y'all should just fuck. I'm like, wait, that's wrong. That's his wife.
He's watching everything. He's watching everything. But man, the acting all around great. Even David, like watching the monitors of his family, and just you feel his sense of loss and grief, and everyone did great.
Well, it's like he's sending in Dad, but then Dad is cooler than him.
Yes, unfortunately, and Dad will may replace you.
Yeah,
so everyone loves Pete Castiglione. Delhauer, what else worked for you?
Going off of what you guys were saying, I think one of the things I really like about it is the fact that a lot of the characters that have been introduced in the Punisher comics in the past, who had like really odd or just like coincidental connections to the Punisher, had it more of a reason to be there, like Lieberman or like Billy Russo.
Right.
Whereas in the comic, Billy Russo was just a mob enforcer who happened to also be a narcissist. They instead decided to make it that not only is he still a narcissist, but he's actually Frank's best friend from when he was in the Marines.
Great relationship. And like, this is the big change to the origin where...
Well, it works for the show.
Yes.
I think for a movie or something like that, it would be out of place.
Yeah.
But for a TV show where things have to kind of have more of a tied connection, I think it works just as good or better. So,
and it has time to breathe. You can play out the story.
Yeah,
and it becomes kind of like a military espionage detective.
Yeah, I would agree with that too, because like in a movie, I don't think you have enough time to invest in Billy Russo to then hate him when he turns.
Yeah,
whereas this, you're like, man, this Russo's kind of a good guy. Yeah. Oh wait, he's not that great. Oh no,
and you also can explore different perspectives of the relationship. Like whenever they do it in a movie, they just do like a flashback scene, and they're like the best friends ever. But there's time where they bicker, they disagree, or they're not quite trusting each other, and you could see that the dissension kind of grows from that. So it feels more natural where it shouldn't in a movie.
Right. Yeah, and especially if it's going to be a Punisher movie, that means your bad guy's dead by the end. 9 times out of 10.
Right.
So you're not going to put that much work into a dude that isn't sticking around.
This is a long, great setup of Billy Russo. Like, you really get to know him.
In there too. Yeah, I thought Billy Russo, I liked his setup.
Yeah,
I liked the actor that played
Ben Barnes,
him. I even liked that he was, even though he's a bad dude, he's not, even at the end, we hit the spoiler button, Imran. Have you been hitting these buttons?
I did. I'll do it again.
He hit it.
Okay, cool. Even at the end when he lets Frank go to kill Agent Orange. Like, he's not entirely a bad dude. He was just trying to make some money and trying to make a buck, and unfortunately Frank got in his way.
There's so many amazing scenes in that last episode. One of them being the flashback where you see that Billy was like friends with Frank's family. He's Uncle Billy, and they're giving each other shit. And he's that close. He's just more than a war buddy. The guy's like a brother, a second family.
That's all he has left.
Yeah, there's nobody else. And then the other like really awesome scene was when Billy goes to visit Curtis looking for Frank, and doesn't know Frank is waiting for him with a sniper across the street. But in any other show, like there would have been a shootout there, and the way they both respected Curtis and kind of calmed down and rescheduled the fight and let him walk away, like it was so tense, it was so good.
He even says like, I keep my promises.
Yeah,
and lets him go.
They still have. I mean, they still have this code of honor where they're willing to trust each other when he really didn't have to, but they both kind of they want to let Curtis live because he didn't really deserve to die.
You saw Punisher Warzone recently, right, Imran?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so the way they mishandled Jigsaw so badly in that movie, and they made now. There's potential for a good Jigsaw to come out of this story.
I will say this is probably
a compelling villain.
Very compelling.
I think this is the closest they've gotten to the essence of the Punisher on screen yet. Like, this is really why I enjoyed it.
I like that what made birth out of this being a good Jigsaw is because the Punisher decided not to kill for once,
right,
and just fucking punish him.
Yeah,
and now he's gonna probably have to regret that later because this guy is going to come back demented as fuck.
And you get that Russo was vain and into his looks and looking.
I mean, just the way even like his wardrobe, like the way he dressed him was very like. You could tell he cares about his wardrobe. He cares about his looks.
And even on top of that is that they established that, yes, he does take care of his looks. He dresses well. He wants to have money. He's got like a very narcissistic personality. We also see that he has a part of him that hates that as well, because he talks about the whole story with Madani about how when he was in a foster home as a kid, being the pretty one out of all the foster kids basically led to him getting molested.
Yeah.
That, and then when later on he takes down Madani's partner, like just randomly says to him like, "Who's pretty now?" and slits his throat.
Yeah, he is damaged goods. I love that episode where they're Madani and him are shooting at each other, and later he shows up and he fucking bathes her with like nothing's wrong. I was like, holy shit, very well done. Let's talk about Madani. I really love that there's a lead female, non-white, smart character. That she's a step ahead. She knows what's going down. She's badass. She occasionally she has some stupid decisions, but for the most part.
So Rosario Dawson doesn't exist, I think, in this world.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about the Rosario Dawson. No, but you would think like that role would be like a guy Homeland Security.
It's more
officer,
intriguing with a woman.
You know? Yeah,
then she can hook up with Billy.
Yeah,
Russo.
then she can show that her butt off again.
Yeah, no Claire Temple, surprisingly, also, but she'd be in all of them.
I honestly, I thought when Bernthal or Frank Castle was walking around injured, I'm like, Claire Temple's got to show up, right?
To patch him up now.
The night nurse has to show up.
No, they went to Madani. Nope. He takes a fucking beating in this show too, man. Unbelievable. Let's talk about the action. Fucking action was at parts
when it was on screen.
I wish there was more. I wish there was more of it.
I wish there was more.
It was well done.
I agree with that. Yeah,
but I mean,
the scene in the forest where he's getting hunted down by the op. I mean, that was great.
Well, it's got a little bit of everything. You got great shooting scenes. You got a lot of stabby, close hand. You got eye squishing. You got just beating in somebody's brains.
You got Bernthal yelling over and over.
Some fucking shooting things.
Yeah, I think that my Punisher would be a little bit more stoic than that, but
he was yelling a lot. The move I notice he does a lot is you grab a dude's arm that's got a knife, you break that arm, and you twist it back, and you stab him with the knife still in his hand, get him to stab. He did that like every time. It's a great move. But Jesus, he would like, you could see he would shoot the guy in the leg, take him down, shoot him in the head, like a little bit like John Wick, but then he would just pick up other guns when he ran out of ammo. Like, holy shit. Very well choreographed, brutal action. Loved it. Violent. Very violent.
But it was on screen, yes.
I suppose it could have used a little bit more. But like the scenes where he smoked the room and he's like stealth stalking them with the red lasers, that shit is great. Like, it looked great too. I thought it was shot very well.
The first time you see him when he attacks the guys that are attacking that Hispanic dude.
Yes,
and he's
in the
hitting
first
people
episode.
in the face and leg with a sledgehammer.
With a
I was
sledgehammer?
visibly like, oh no, oh man,
Dude,
fuck.
there was a lot of scenes where I could not watch, like when they're patching him up
Pussy.
or they're doing gross things.
Oh,
yes,
shit.
yes, it makes me squeamish, but that's when you know the show's doing a good job. And I'm like, holy fuck! Just imagine what the torture he's going through. Delhauer, you're in a new room. How is it there?
No, I chased them away.
Oh, okay. Thanks. What else? I love all the supporting characters in a show. Really, not many of them are wasted. From Micro to his family to Madani to her parents. Like everyone kind of fleshed out really well, and
Honestly,
you get to care for them.
And I think out of everything, despite having 2 seasons of Daredevil and kind of a season of Defenders, this is my favorite portrayal of Karen Page so far.
What was she doing? She was only in a couple of episodes.
She's like Frank's friend.
She's
open
Frank's
up to
friend.
her.
She's a contact that, because now that she's an investigative journalist, he's asking her to help him like find information.
Ah, yes.
On top of that, it's also the fact that ever since what happened in Daredevil, she carries a gun on her. Like, she doesn't really take shit anymore.
They're they're a little bit similar people if you think about.
Yeah, she's kind of like one of those people that probably was like all against guns and all against
Now
that type of
she'll
shit.
cap a motherfucker now.
But she's realized that living in New York and all of the shit that's going down in this crime-ridden version of New York, that sometimes you need to have a gun. And sometimes you need to fuck motherfuckers up.
Sometimes being kidnapped as well as the target for murder more than one time changes your feeling about self-defense.
Exactly.
And over, you fucking find yourself in that situation because you're an idiot.
I really enjoyed the military aspect of these people coming home and not having anything and feeling like the government's betrayed them. Like the Lewis Wilson storyline, I thought was a nice little aside to kind of like, oh, this is a little different. This guy is fucked up from war.
I mean, you see guys I like in the
scenes
news
where they're talking and they're in in a support circle, and what's his face? What's the black guy's name?
Curtis.
Curtis is kind of leading the way, and there's all these different, like, everybody. What I gathered from that is like everybody comes back different from war. Like there's not one way to treat any of these people. They're all have experienced different things, and their histories and what they've seen and how they are, their demeanor and their personality makes them all different, but all in need of something.
And they can go one way or
and they can go all sorts of ways. You got the guy that was served in the military and didn't do shit, like the guy that Lewis Wilson was eventually killed. But he uses that to now push his agenda.
I kind of love the stolen valor thing, because you remember seeing that on the internet. These guys get busted. Dude, Lewis Wilson, that scene where he wakes up and shoots his dad by
Almost
accident.
Shoots his dad. Don't mislead people.
He doesn't shoot his dad.
He reacts. I was like, this dude is stressed. This guy's going to be a problem.
That's when he was stressed, or when he dug a fucking hole in his backyard and was sleeping there.
Because he couldn't deal with it. Yeah.
The thing that I find really funny about that, and not even so much funny, but just like, I don't know a word, interesting, whatever you want, is my brother has a friend who served in Afghanistan several times. Like, he's over there again with the army. And the first time he came back, there was an instance where he wound up staying over at my brother's place. And my brother went to go check on him to like wake him up at, say, hey, it's, like 10 in the morning. I'm surprised you slept this late, seeing as how you're used to getting up at like 4 a.m. And we're going to go get breakfast. He went to go wake him up. And as he shook him, his buddy jumped up out of bed and basically grabbed him by the throat.
Oh, jeez.
And he said, like, it was 2 or 3 seconds of him looking around to find other people before he realized where he was and what was going on.
Oh, yeah. PTSD is a real thing. I was looking at reviews in preparation for this, and there was a review from, like, this veterans website, and this guy loved this series. He's called it Vetsploitation in a good way. He's like, they really get the grief and the PTSD and trying to fit in and what it's like they tell it in such a smart and authentic way on the show. Like, he really loved that they did that. And the grief, man, you get the grief that Castle is going through from the very beginning.
I think the thing I really like about this version of it is that, like I was saying, the fact that it's a bit different and it goes somewhere you don't expect it at the end, is that most of the Netflix shows, you have that problem where you get to the back half and it feels very long. They're suddenly bringing in a secondary plot that has really no point.
Right.
And that winds up getting wrapped up and doesn't actually affect anything. And for a while, I was fairly certain that's what the Lewis Wilson story was going to be.
Yeah, and then they just wrapped that up.
And they wrapped it up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I find so interesting about it is when you look at the two stories, his and Frank's next to each other, you see that they are going through the exact same thing.
Yep. And one goes
and what
one way.
you tend to notice is that while we're in the heat of the moment, we agree with Frank and we're like, well, he's killing bad guys and he's taking out, gangsters and corrupt police and whatever else it is, and he's doing the right thing. And Lewis, he's a fucking coward because he's just blowing up buildings with innocent people in it. But you also have to ask yourself, at what point does Frank possibly cross that line himself?
Frank is just as bad as the guys he's killing in a lot of ways.
And so when it then gets to the point where Frank realizes that being different from Lewis isn't just who it is you're killing, it's entirely how you go about approaching recovery.
Right.
Frank refused to go to the therapy group. He would try and deal with it on his own, and that turned into him breaking walls with his bare hands, basically.
Yeah.
And, sitting in an apartment reading Moby Dick.
Yeah, that's great.
And
no one should ever do that.
no one ever should read Moby Dick.
Looking for my white whale. Have you seen it?
But what I find funny is that Lewis, despite going to therapy, doesn't believe in it either, and sees Frank as a hero for deciding to use basically his military training to take down the man. And Frank recognizes that actually the therapy they both decided to not care about is what they should have been going after, because obviously violence for violence sake and as a way of trying to process the grief of his dead family isn't going to fix things. And how long will it be before Frank himself is blowing himself up in the freezer of a hotel?
I also liked that they're both of their storylines. They both were just cast as domestic terrorists.
Right.
They both were like the media was just like, yeah, they're both fucked up.
There's a version of the Punisher where he doesn't fall into this category if you do it right. But the way that they handled it, he seems like more of a kind of a terrorist than anything else.
Right.
And I think part of the trouble that comes from that is especially like looking at the fact that they're remaking the movie Death Wish with Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
If you've seen the trailer, that movie basically paints itself as white man uses gun to protect black people from themselves.
Oh, okay.
And it's like really upsetting to see it that way.
Wow.
And so
the way that I would frame it if I was going to make a Punisher show is that there's bad people that no one can touch, and he's got the skills to actually do something.
Oh, yeah. And that is exactly why Kingpin is such a great foil for Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Because it is the guy that no one thinks they can do anything about, and his response is, well, fuck it, I'm going to kill him.
Well, it's like these cartel guys that have like an entire like city looking out for them.
Right.
And all of these guys are just, they'll kill somebody at the drop of a hat. And those people I have no compunction for. If the dude that he's killing will kill somebody for whatever reason that they feel like it that day, they didn't pay the thing or they didn't do their job or whatever. I'm cool with him killing those guys. But then this story, it makes you feel a little bit more compassion for the bad guys.
It does. And I think that's because the problem that Punisher stories have always had is that every time you introduce someone who is a new bad guy, you want to make a reason for Frank to kill them and for you to cheer for it, but the ultimate end is that they'll die. So the fact that you don't have returning villains means every time the villain has to escalate more and more and more until it gets to just this ridiculous level of like sadistic asshole who blah, 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 blah. And you start to lose the realism that this show really wanted to put into it.
All very good points.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end, he's kind of like, how do you keep him fighting? I love the very last line at the end where he does show up to the support group, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life if I'm not fucking shooting people and waging a war. And he goes, I'm scared. Like, the whole show ends with Frank Castle going, I'm scared. And then it just kind of ends. It was a weird ending. And it's just
I
over.
think it is, while a lot of people may not notice it, I think it's actually a really bold choice for them to go with a story that for a while seems to be glorifying like white male anger and violence.
Yes.
and in the end, basically just outright say, the reason this happens is because I'm scared and I don't know how to be a person that isn't this.
Well,
Yeah.
I also like that they were like, they made the decision. I don't know if this is comic book accurate, that he is the guy that ended up killing Zubair. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, he took
He's
the
like, we
shot
all
in the
did that
video.
shit.
The entire story with Zubair and Cerberus and everything was invented for the show. That did not come from the comic
Well,
at all.
I like
changed
that,
his
though,
whole
be-
origin.
I like that
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like that.
See, I liked it just because I like that he's
So
not
it
this
muddies
squeaky
up the
clean
Pun-
guy either.
Well, it muddies up the bed. The Punisher should be a virtuous, righteous person. He shouldn't be like, I'm not virtuous, but righteous. Like, he should be righteous in his actions, and he's misunderstood, and that's why it makes him great, because you cheer for the Punisher knowing that he's doing what he's supposed to do, and then, yes, it's a little squeamish that he's kind of like on the line. He's a murderer, but like, at the same time, he's righteous in what he's doing.
I got the impression that he didn't know that the guy was necessarily an innocent
none of them
person.
did.
No, but here in this one, he was a soldier following orders,
following orders,
knowing
right.
he was doing something that wasn't right, but maybe it was the right thing for his country, whatever. But then now he wants to fix that.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. Is I think it at least serves in this aspect that it's a redemption arc of how he recognizes that he is exactly what they had kind of made him into because he never
Stood up.
questioned that before.
I'm allowing it because it's a TV show.
Well, and this is
if it was
where-
a movie, I would not allow this to happen.
That seems to be the running theme with Rugboy. I allow it because it's TV.
It works
but
on
this
TV.
One, movie, fuck them.
But that's the moment where he really starts his journey towards being the Punisher. Like, it kind of starts there, and then that great flashback scene where he's
That's the only thing. I don't think he's the Punisher still yet.
Yeah, that's questionable because
He was the Punisher, and then he gave it up.
Then he burns
Well, no, I'm
the
saying,
thing,
but
and
the
then-
Punisher would just be like, I'm killing all the bad guys because they're all bad. But he's still, I mean, right? It ends with him being like, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah,
basically.
It's like more about him retiring, being the Punisher, and becoming Frank Castle.
Yeah,
I did find it interesting that the immediate opening of the show is him kind of cleaning up the rest of the cartel,
I
the
love those.
biker
Those are
gang,
great scenes.
and the Irish mob
Yeah.
from Daredevil. And everything about that is so Garth Ennis's version of Punisher.
Yeah.
It's got very dark humor,
Yep.
hyper violent.
The guy in the bathroom.
He is just a man with a mission who is doing what he does.
It would have been a better movie than a show.
I loved the
Hey, now
whole
you're
bit with him
flip-flopping.
tracking down the guy in the cartel to Mexico and sniping him from El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, and it pulled all the way back, and that was great. And the guy, he gets the guy in the bathroom, he runs over the bikers with the van, like all this shit was fantastic. And then he's like, "I'm done. I'm burning my thing."
And I think that's possibly supposed to be symbolic. I'm going to give it that much credit that they were like, "This is the Punisher as we built him and as you know him. He burns the vest, and now this is something and somebody different."
It may always be that he's trying to not be the Punisher, and then always just gets sucked back.
And he always gets pulled back
Yeah,
in.
they can pull me back in. One last thing I'll say I love before we take a break: the music I thought was very well done. A lot of the guitar,
That opening theme I thought was fantastic.
I disagree. I thought it was maybe the music was fine, but I didn't like the intro.
No,
at all.
I didn't like the intro either. That's the one thing I didn't like. But the choices of
I
song
didn't care either way.
when they would play the rock songs over like a violent action scene, towards the end they play like a deep cut Creedence Clearwater Revival song I've never heard when Ben Barnes is fucking shit up, and it's so great. Like, they just very good music choices for the scenes. The intro, though, that's a different matter. That will be stuff when we get into what didn't work, which we will do right after this break. Gonna play a couple of promos for you, listener. Listen, indie, check out some new pods, and we will return with The Punisher.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey listener, Dutch here from Voice from the Underground, the podcast. My co-host and I want to invite you to check out our little corner of the podcast verse. At Voice from the Underground, we talk about all the crazy happening around us and try to make a little bit of sense out of the nonsense with little to no results. If the idea of hearing three semi-intelligent, outspoken nerds talk about politics, social issues, current events, sports, movies, pretty much anything that we decide to talk about because, well, it's our show, appeals to you, grab your shovel and come on down to the underground, and then consult a qualified psychotherapist. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, just not where you buy your weed.
Voice from the Underground.
My
name is Carrie Sims, and I host sketching comedy with my artist friends, Imran Javed.
Hey, that's me.
And Phil Rude each week live on YouTube. Hang out with us as I learn and discuss the legends of comic book art and comedians, while the fellows are creating live drawings during the show. I learned Jack Kirby most closely identified with his creation of the Thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Carrie. He was an old-school tough guy, and it's because he was in a street gang in New York.
Visit BlazingCaribouStudio.com or tune in each week on our YouTube channel and download the podcast at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever podcasts are found.
Catch you later.
Do you like superheroes? Do you like movies, television shows, and comic books? Do you like listening to a guy rant about these things for hours on end? Well, then you're in luck, because you need to check out Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. Featuring me, Scott James Merridew, we'll be talking about a variety of geek and nerdy issues, joined each week by a rotating panel of guests that will try to contain me. Joke's on them, I cannot be contained. So please join us on Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape, where superheroes go to relax, but I never do. Cue the music!
And
Listener, if you've been enjoying our show, if you love this brand of geekery and horseshit, well, I got news for you. There's more show to be had over at our fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month, give you access to an exclusive RSS feed full of bonus clips. For example, the most recent clip up there right now, fellas, last episode we did The Last Jedi with our buddy John Bellotti Jr. Well, we had some technical difficulties getting his microphone to work before we recorded. We had to call tech support, and a lovely gentleman named Rodney helped us out. And that clip is on the Patreon.
I thought it was Jinder.
It was not Jinder Mahal, the reigning, now not the champion. I know he's not the champion anymore. That much I know.
That was actually really funny.
Yeah, that's on the Patreon. Tech support, John Bellotti Jr. with tech support trying to get his mic work. You'll figure it out. Okay, back to the Punisher. Let's get into what didn't work for us. I'm going to pick it up right where I left off. While I did love the music choices in the show, this is my least favorite intro of all the Netflixes.
Yeah, afterthoughty.
And I skipped it every time. And it's just like some smoke and some guns spinning and bullets.
See, that's the thing is I liked the song for the intro. I didn't care about the actual intro graphics. It was
there was really nothing going on. I've seen better things in video games.
Yes.
It was constant, just very close-up things of a bullet leaving a gun.
Ugh, so bland and uninspired. Like the other ones have been really good. They've slowly been slipping in quality. But this one, I was like, you didn't even try. You didn't even try, Netflix. What the fuck?
I would have rather just had a black thing with the just the skull and then Punisher coming in. That'll be it.
Skip the whole fucking song. Just start the fucking show. And I love that Netflix lets you skip intros. It's the best thing ever.
There are points while I was watching this that I really wonder if it was like because they didn't think that they were going to make a Punisher show, they were just going to throw him in Daredevil, and then everyone was like, "Oh my god, I loved Bernthal as a Punisher. He should get his own show." That Netflix's reaction was just, "All right, I don't know, fuck it, make it, whatever. We don't care." And so Lightfoot was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want then.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, whatever. Shut up.
Yeah.
Are you still here?
I got a couple of smoke filters in my After Effects. I got the intro done. Boom. Let's go.
We got to figure out why people don't like Danny Rand. Did you know he's the hand? He has to fight the hand?
Danny Rand again. I'm the immortal Iron Fist. Also, I think like all
my destiny to save the world.
What a little bitch.
Danny Rand.
Bitch ass punk.
I'm starting it now. Hashtag Anthony is Danny Rand. Let's get it fixed.
Get me as Danny Rand. Oh, I'll do a better
Tony
job.
Rand.
I'll do a better job.
Randall.
I got a better body than that fuck.
Actually, I could see Anthony doing fucking Iron Fist. Absolutely. I think
I have a 100%. I have a better body than that
you could
motherfucker.
fake some
that
fucking kung fu. Yeah, absolutely. You could take him.
Total homo? Yeah, you do.
You get that. Yes, indeed.
I have no response.
Yes, you gotta get him a part on a CW show somehow. I like it. That's it. Anthony for Danny Rand season 2.
I will vote yes.
Make it happen. Did you guys think this was still too long in 13 episodes?
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
You could have done
that middle.
Yeah.
Where there there's some good stuff. There's some good scenes with Lieberman and Frank where they're hanging out. But I mean, a lot of that middle is just them hanging out.
Yeah, it's true. Like a lot of the stuff with Lieberman's family, I feel like I get why it's there, but it also feels like it's coming up way too much.
Yeah, we kept seeing his wife like a lot, but then
he should have only gone back like 2 or 3 times.
The
It's
fucking
like
side
every
story,
day.
the whole fucking side story of Lieberman's son is a bully because his dad is dead. Like,
oh yeah, that wasn't necessary.
I don't need to have a moment where Frank pulls a K-bar knife on a child and threatens to kill him. And then plays football with it.
That one just it didn't. Not only did I not care, it didn't really like register. I'm like, this little fat fuck. He doesn't look like a little of a bully. And plus, then you get like bad child acting. So it's just like, oh no.
Those bullies were not impressive at all. Now I remember that scene.
Yeah. He's like hitting his sister and shit.
He hits his sister and there's like storming out like, you guys don't understand me. Like, yeah, we do. You get it. Your dad's dead. I don't care.
They've been telling us over and over again.
Yeah, I mean that middle, like there was really not a ton of action.
Do we need to see Frank banging his wife like in his head? Was that necessary?
Yes.
I guess.
That was okay.
Again, that was a point where I think Lightfoot was trying to get all artsy with it.
Yeah.
It was like that was his way of trying to compartmentalize so he isn't feeling the fact that he's getting tortured.
Yeah, every time he passed out, he would go into like that. But I did love the moment where he finally lets go and he's like, no, I'm not gonna come with you. I'm gonna go fucking beat this guy.
Oh, and he lets go. He fucking lets go.
Oh, he let go. Let's talk about. He seemed to have like a Wolverine-ish healing power in a lot of this. Like he would get the shit beat out of him.
I will say it is comic accurate.
Yes.
That apparently Punisher doesn't feel bullets.
Not only that, but he is able to be healed with like the most rudimentary shit ever.
Stitch him
up.
up.
And everyone seems to just know how to fucking deal with this. Yeah.
I got a Q-tip and an alcohol wipe.
That'll
and
work.
You have a severed spine.
Yeah.
They should patch it up.
I just need Bactine and a gauze, and I'm good.
And a chewing gum wrapper.
Also, did anyone else notice that it seemed like Bernthal got more jacked as the season went on?
Did he? I did not notice that.
The like episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was when he has Lieberman tied up and he's interrogating him.
Right.
And then when Lieberman actually like sticks him with the syringe pen and he passes out, I thought to myself, I was like, Bernthal looks really fucking tiny in this episode.
Well, because the guy who's playing Microchip is
so
like
tall.
a foot taller.
Yes,
Well, I don't even mean
casting.
like small. I mean like his arms looked small. Like his body
just
looked
in general.
small.
No, I noticed that too. Frank looks up to talk to Lieberman. Like, why is he's so
And then
Why
it
would you
was-
cast a tall guy like that?
At least the same
But
height.
then you get to episode like 11 or whatever, and he's that scene where he's in the bathroom and like he rips his shirt off and he's fucking bleeding all over himself before Lieberman goes stitching him up.
Yeah.
I'm like, he has like 10 to 15 more pounds of muscle on him now than he did what apparently was like a week ago.
He needs another 20 though, for real.
Bernthal?
Yeah. Because he's not, to me, his head's big,
And
that makes the rest of his body look small.
It's because he has a very thick neck.
yeah.
Yeah, it's something
He's
like that.
he's definitely got a head that's like looks oversized for his body.
You gotta, the chest has got to be bigger to like.
He doesn't
fit the
seem
proportion.
imposing. Like,
I don't think he's actually all that tall either.
No, he's
No,
not.
but Microchip is this skinny, wiry guy,
Yeah.
and standing up, like he looks like he could just house him.
I think that's
Frank
part of
Castle.
the reason as to why they decided to go more towards like the John Wick style of action is because Bernthal's like, he's like Tom Hardy. He's like 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, but Keanu Reeves is a big dude.
Oh, and he is. But I mean, because Bernthal is smaller than a lot of guys, they're going for more of that military technical for what he does instead of like Frank the Tank sort of pounding his way through everything.
Yeah, but I kind of love that visual, though. I just really do. I just love that he's a goon.
Yeah.
That's just something I always loved about Frank.
Oh,
this
yeah.
this is a different kind of
Frankenstein. You know, that's what they called him. When they
Frankencastle?
drew him, like it was like they were like, yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is, if you notice, throughout like the Garth Ennis run, he had like 2 or 3 other artists come in after Steve Dillon.
Yeah.
And every time they drew him like 3 times bigger than the guy before him, to the point where he's like 7 foot and 400 pounds of just muscle.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I always read John Romita Jr.'s Punisher Warzone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's just this wide brick dude.
Yeah, and Romita just drew him like a fucking tank. Yeah, and Ramita draws everything like really dark and gritty, you know.
You feel the weight there. But this is, I mean, they did take a lot from the Ennis Dillon storyline, and like that body type of Frank is kind of like Bernthal too. So, you know, we said that they didn't really plan for this. Punisher got popular and they were like, let's give him a series. And this is not their fault. I think one thing that was weird is just the unfortunate timing of releasing the show.
Yeah.
And what was going on. The Vegas shootings pushed it back. They didn't even go to New York Comic Con, pulled the whole panel.
You know, I gotta say though, I don't think. I mean, obviously, you know, you think we had our thoughts of what the Punisher was going to be, but if you watch the show, it's not.
Right. It's not about
it's like any other movie.
Yeah.
It's not that. There's this. It's not this angry white guy shooting people all the time.
No, there's Lewis Wilson, which is like that part of the story,
right?
And I think I really do appreciate that because they didn't really have any precedent for making a show, and they outright said we're not tying it into the Defenders stuff.
Right. Yep.
They had the freedom to make whatever they wanted, and they decided to try at least to have a message to it as well.
I mean, that was my one other critique is they did touch on these things like gun control and PTSD. But I didn't really see them having anything to say about it.
There are points where it felt like they wanted to bring up a concept, but they were very afraid to have a stance.
And then the gun control debate was a bit cringeworthy, I think, because I felt like they just tacked that on to be part of the topic of conversation that's going on now, and I don't think it was fleshed out.
I think it's very true. I think the problem was that they were building on a very like moderate stance where it's like, well, you know, I mean, obviously we don't really want people going around just shooting everybody, but that's kind of what our fucking hero does.
Yes, that's kind of the point of the
we
show.
can't be staunchly liberal of like no guns ever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't want to make a show that's aimed directly at like the Trump supporting right wing like gun nut crowd. So they made it very moderate in the fact that it's like, we kind of still need you to vote for like cheer for Frank. So they went very cartoony on the two different sides of it, where you've got the NRA dude in the
Senate from the Senate.
Yeah.
Well, it's the NRA dude that was in the therapy group.
Oh, right.
Who's like every other line is, well, they're coming to take our guns.
Right.
And you're like, oh, why? What?
Who's coming to take your guns?
And then you have the senator who is like this milquetoast, like whiny little dude who's just like, well, I don't think anyone ever needs guns. Well, why is that, Senator? Because I think that. You don't have a stance. Neither of you have a stance.
Right.
And like, honestly, because that's how I feel, I'm fine with it. But I could also see how it feels like they're not saying anything because they don't want to like piss off someone or someone else.
Still, I appreciate the effort, and especially setting it, retconning it to Afghanistan war, like it just hits home. It feels like the most realistic out of any one of these.
I got another thing. It'll sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I enjoyed Lewis Wilson.
Yeah.
But I did feel that his storyline with Karen Page kind of just like it came out of nowhere.
I'll agree.
It was like we need an episode where we're not going to deal with the main storyline, but this is 13 episodes, so
it was a little
You're going to deal with it felt kind of filler.
So I felt the same about the Lewis Wilson. It had good parts and it had bad parts.
Right.
As much as I liked episode 10, which was the one where they're in the hotel and it's the whole story about him blowing himself up at the end and everything.
A whole episode. I
like the way that they structured it, where it's like the unreliable narrators to it. It's non-linear. It felt like a comic issue.
Yeah.
In an episode.
A standalone, right.
The problem with that was it didn't add to the series.
Nope.
And compared to the rest of the series, it was very jarring to suddenly have a non-linear episode about something that happened in the past.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
That was and I felt the same way about the Lewis Wilson.
They're trying to do some Breaking Bad shit here.
Yeah, but it was jarring.
And Breaking Bad didn't even try that until like the 5th season.
Right. Until when they had him just chasing a fly through the meth lab for a whole episode. But it was fucking great. It was amazing. That was a great episode. I could watch that.
They earned it.
Yeah.
This one tried a little too hard.
Yes, I'll agree. And I didn't think he was going to fucking go out like that, blow himself up. So I'll give him props for that.
I was expecting Lewis Wilson to end up turning and being with Frank,
right?
Like kind of helping him out. So it was kind of a bit like, oh fuck, this guy killed himself.
I expected it winding up being that Frank had to put him down.
Right, or that.
Because
yes.
the whole bit when he goes and he breaks into the army base And he's saying, you know, I don't want to have to hurt soldiers. I don't want to have to do anything to these guys because they're just doing their job and I know what it's like.
Right.
And he winds up having to shoot the dude in the tunnel.
Yeah. That's
and
great.
he regrets it.
Yeah.
It would be a deeper character moment to get to a point where Frank not only like has to do something about this army kid that's running around blowing up buildings, but Frank realizes I can't spare him. Like, I gotta put him down.
You gotta put him down. There's no coming back for him. He's trying to reach him. Nothing's gonna work. Like, to save people, he's gonna have to fucking take this.
And it kind of goes out that way in the fact that when he's finally like, I'm about to kill myself, Frank's sitting there goading him on, like, do it, kid, do it, fucking kill yourself.
Yeah, he talks him into it, which I thought was weird. But he's like, a soldier never dies or something. I forgot what he's saying.
When he's doing his whole go out like a soldier poem.
Yeah, holy shit. And then you see the fucking blood splatter, the explosion. Really well done. Well done violence in the fucking show. Jesus. Did you think he needed a little more skull costumes? Like, he could have been wearing the skull a little bit more.
I think that's like the curse of Netflix.
Yeah.
Is they
hate the costumes?
Well,
it's not. I don't know if it's that they hate the costumes. They know we love them, so they fucking bait them until the end of the season every time.
Yep.
Like they did it with Daredevil, they'll do it with the Punisher, and then everyone else they're like, fuck it, don't worry about it. It's too goofy.
I think it's one of those things where they want to appeal, like especially with this show. They were looking to make a show because like the Punisher is not everyone's flavor.
Yeah.
But there's people who love the Punisher, really love the Punisher the way he's supposed to be.
This was absolutely the most mainstream take they have had on the Punisher.
They had to soften him up a little bit. They had to tie him into stuff that people can relate to of all different kinds.
I think it's successful, though, and you can watch this without watching any of the other ones. You can come right in. I think it's
They also wanted to make this the most look like realistic version
it definitely is.
of their Netflix stuff, so they were like, him walking around with his skull's really goofy. We're just not going to touch this.
It's this weird thing where it's like everything that he's doing throughout it, he's just Frank Castle. He's the Marine who knows how to do this, and that. And then when it gets to the point where they have the guys who are trying to attack their little basement, setup.
Yeah.
And he finally puts on the skull vest.
Yeah.
Like there's this main difference where it's almost like a Batman thing where there's Frank Castle
and then
there's
puts
the
on
Punisher.
the skull.
And Frank Castle's the one trying to find out what's going on here, and the Punisher is who he becomes when he realizes my only method is murder.
That's a fucking great scene too, where he comes back and takes him out in what, Ruggs?
I don't think the Punisher has to wear a skull.
I don't think so either.
But
I agree with you.
I did like in the Dolph Lundgren movie how he would. Whenever he would leave it as a calling card.
Like with the knives?
Yeah, or just anything, a mark, whatever.
Scratch
a sticker,
it into someone.
A spray painting or something, you would just know that he did it. Like, he would take credit for it. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to wear the skull. But
it made him more of like a myth.
Yeah.
And then he can wear the skull, like, when he wants to fuck with people. Like, people know, like,
to intimidate.
To be afraid of him.
He's going in to intimidate.
Yeah.
What else didn't work? Anybody got anything else?
I would agree. You wrote this down, I think, but Agent Orange, I thought was kind of one note.
Yeah, Rollins,
I was going to say,
Rollins was a shitty bad guy.
Rollins was a very shitty villain compared to Jigsaw.
Yes, compared to Billy Russo, but he got his eyes squished out, which was fantastic.
Well, and especially when at the end you find out like he killed Frank's family because Frank punched him in the face. Like, are you shitting
his
me?
eye up? Yeah, that was it.
Like, I get that a big part of this is supposed to be, like, fragile masculinity in white men.
Right.
But, like, dude, no. You don't put out a fucking military hit squad on a dude because he popped you in the face in front of your boys.
Yeah, he wasn't that really.
He just wasn't very fleshed. Like, he was just like one note guy.
He wasn't very intimidating.
This guy is. Yeah, he wasn't very intimidating, and he's the guy he's running the show, and he wants to make drug money. He's got dirty money.
Outside of that, though, like, they paint this weird thing where it's like he apparently is very easily, like, revved up to the point where he makes a lot of mistakes and he does stupid shit, and he's sending, Marine squads out into the woods in Alabama to go fucking kill Frank and the other dude.
Getting
and
everyone
apparently
killed.
He's really bad at planning things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're telling me that he is so smart he was able to hide everything he's done from everybody else in the CIA until the moment he has to bring his superiors in on this?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's kind of spotty writing there. Yeah, he isn't the best bad guy, but they do have Jigsaw there.
Yes.
Jigsaw
And
helps.
he kind of makes up for it in the end.
He definitely saves it.
So,
because
yeah,
especially in the fact that it almost paints it like Billy Russo was more of the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of.
If Russo wasn't there, then this show would have a glaring hole.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
it would.
Rollins, I was glad Rollins wasn't the main bad guy, and it was Russo. And,
At the end of the show, where he becomes Jigsaw, gets his face fucked up, and they have that they duke it out.
Yeah.
In the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
That like saves the show basically.
Man,
like,
when that I know we're in the bad part of the show,
Oh,
or
go
but when he is fucking dragging
But he's
his face
scraping his
across
face
the
against the
glass,
wall.
I was like,
Yes.
I was having like a fucking like comic book fear boner because I was like, this is brutal. But I'm like, he's becoming Jigsaw.
And you're waiting
this was
for
the moment
this.
where
You knew.
the whole show, because they said his name was Billy Russo, I'm thinking to myself, all right, how's he going to make him into Jigsaw?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do this. Maybe he'll do that. You know, maybe they'll go the way of the comics and they'll have it that Frank is legitimately so strong he throws him through a bulletproof window. And then it gets to the point where they get to the carousel and it's got all the mirrors, and I thought to myself, oh fuck.
This is it.
And when he finally does it and he's dragging his face and he is screaming.
Oh, Jesus.
It was one of those moments where I said to myself, something I never thought I'd say in my life, Frank, stop.
Yes, yes, he goes over the line. I can't imagine if you watched the show and you didn't know the comic book origins that Billy Russo is going to be Jigsaw. That has got to be a shocking fucking moment when he gets to the end. You're like, oh, gee.
Well, he takes a bullet to the face or like
oh, yes, and he spits it out.
Yeah, and then, so I'm like, oh fuck, his face is gonna be, and then like the face drag, and then him pounding his face against the mirror,
just slamming him against it.
So if you're like you're the showrunner for season 2, how do you like vastly improve the show? Because this show is like teetering on being a great show.
Yeah, how are they going to ruin it?
I mean,
second season?
It's a solid show.
Yes.
It has its problems.
Yes.
It's a little bit far from what I like from The Punisher, but it's still good enough to stand on its own.
And I think if they do a season 2, which they've said they're going to,
yes, season 2 is going to happen.
You can course correct some of these things that you can still make it like The Punisher a lot of people know. Recognize that if he's going to come back and be the Punisher again for season 2, then he stays that. He can't do this fucking every season I put on the skull and then I burn it and now I'm never going to do this again until next year.
Yes, we're done with the origin. We don't need to see that shit anymore.
So if he's going to turn into the Punisher again, he's going to do that.
So it's got to be Jigsaw causing some shit, and it forces Frank to come out of retirement.
I don't think they go to Jigsaw in season 2.
No?
I think what they should do,
Kingpin.
and sadly I don't think they'll do it yet because of Daredevil, is it needs to be Kingpin, because he made a promise that when Fisk got out of prison, he will kill him.
That's true.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So if it depends how Daredevil season 3 ends up, and if there's space, if there's time, you could still use Kingpin if you wait till like 2020 to put this out.
So I have this kind of feeling that the whole Kingpin thing is going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
But another way you can go is go A-Team style, where he's just Frank, just chilling in seclusion, like trying to live his life, but then somebody pulls him back in.
We need you,
and
Frank.
He puts the fucking, and he's like, all right, fuck it, I need to go do this because there's some really fucked up shit, and I'm the only one who can fucking do something about
It
it.
reminds me of when with Logan, where Logan he was retired, and then he's like, I got pulled back in.
They keep pulling him back in.
They keep pulling me
I'm
back
okay
in.
with that.
If they decide to go that way, I think what they would have to do is, obviously, Billy wakes up, the brain damage is enough that he's kind of already on edge, but now the fact that his face is fucked up forever, he winds up snapping.
Well, they said that he may not remember anything. Or
Maybe he does something to Karen Page.
I think instead of Karen Page, he goes after Lieberman's family. Now, he thinks Lieberman is dead.
Right.
But he knows the family is alive. And he knows, obviously, Frank is. So he's going to go after the people he knows are connected to him to try and pull Frank back out again.
And then maybe Lieberman has to find Frank to help his family again.
I don't. I think that Jigsaw coming back would be awesome for season 2. I'm just looking at the blueprint for what they did with Daredevil.
Right.
I would
kind of
hate for them.
Kingpin and then did something different.
Yeah, I would hate for them to pull Jigsaw in immediately, because I also feel like if they're going to do another 13 episodes, if you do that and he is the bad guy from episode 1,
it's a lot. It's Jigsaw.
It's going to be a long haul and it's going to get slow.
How about this? Does Daredevil make an appearance in Punisher
you
season
know
2?
I was kind of disappointed that he wasn't in this, but now I'm not anymore because I like this as a standalone. I think Daredevil should make a cameo, and there should be a clashing of philosophies.
Those two guys
again.
are always clashing.
There's no reason for them not to be together, but if they don't put them together, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's necessary. I'm just throwing it out there.
And
I mean, I would be cool to see Daredevil back.
Right.
But then, like, basically, this thing is veering to another direction, and which I'm fine with that direction. But I would also like to see him more tied into the Marvel
They've
universe.
left it pretty open for a second season, and we're getting multiple seasons of other characters before, so it
would definitely be interesting if shit gets so hairy for Frank that he has to swallow his pride and go to Matt Murdock for help.
Gotta go back up to Hell's Kitchen.
I feel like that Daredevil's going to ask Frank for help before Frank asks him to help.
The only thing the way I'd see Frank asking him for help is if he's got to infiltrate a military base again. And he's like, I can't kill.
Possibly.
I need you to do this with me.
The reason I see Frank doing it first is because I feel like Matt is still too strict on the I won't let anyone die aspect.
Absolutely. I'm just going on what's going to come out first.
True.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely see they'll probably have Bernthal show up in season 3.
Logically, your logic is correct, but I think that it'll be more likely if Daredevil the next season comes out and then that they're not going to tap into
especially because they plan on doing Born Again and shit's supposed to get real crazy.
Yeah, I don't think there's any Punisher. I don't think we're going to see him until his second season. One last thing, it's not really a nitpick. It's just weird that I never pictured my Punisher was good at baking or playing the guitar. Did anybody else find it was weird? I was just like, Frank Castle knows how to play guitar. That's interesting. I'd never occurred to me.
It doesn't kill it for me.
No, but
I feel like when you're in the military, you pick up random hobbies.
You need things for downtime.
Yeah.
It makes him more of a real person.
It does.
Right.
It does.
But I don't know if that necessarily is good.
I know, right?
You never see Bruce Wayne tickle the ivories.
Yeah, you know, like if Bruce Wayne sat down at a harp.
He can.
Oh, you know that he can. He just doesn't care to.
Yeah, and I think it's just because there's never a point in a story that it's really worthwhile, and that's another moment where it's like, well, we tie it to his family and his son.
Well, that's why I love
it,
because the shots of him with his daughter playing the guitar, like that says everything right there without using any dialogue.
While I know in the things we liked section, we were all very much happy with Madani, I did have a little bit of a problem with her.
Oh, yeah?
I liked a lot of her character, and I agree with you. I appreciate a non-white female, mostly lead character that's doing her own thing, and she's smart and everything. The problem I had was a lot of times it felt like her character arc was mostly just the sleeping with the bad guy trope.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
And I felt like that didn't really help move her along at all.
Also, sometimes she's really not good at making decisions. Like in the last episode, the carousel, she's sneaking up on them. She has the drop on them, and somehow fucking Billy shoots her. Like, how did that happen?
I'm okay with her having some character flaws, like she's very gung-ho.
Yeah.
And she's another one that, she acts a little bit before she
chases
thinks.
Frank in the truck.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The whole bullet car chase scene. Is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I agree that maybe
that
by
was
the
a little
end
forced for me. I don't think she would do that.
It was a little forced just because they were like, we need to have a car chase and that would be awesome.
All of a sudden she's like, she's fucking Charles Bronson in there.
I like to at least think if you're going to have that car, fucking know how to drive it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's an automatic. No,
but I feel like I agree that by the end of the season, maybe she should have learned a little more. Like, okay, the last 3 times you went in guns a-blazing, somebody got killed.
Somebody's getting shot.
Maybe wait for fucking backup.
Yeah.
You think she'll evolve into that character? I don't know whose run it is, but it was pretty recent where she's basically female Punisher.
Female Punisher,
I remember that. She is like disenfranchised with the law because obviously...
I don't think so.
That'd be cool, though. I would love for them to try that.
I would like her more, yeah.
They could, but I don't think they will.
Okay.
She's going to be his contact in just like the authorities.
Just to get the scoop. Yeah.
And it'll be, I feel like, I sadly feel like they will go the same trope of it being like, I need your help, Madani. I don't help criminals. Yeah, but I'm the good guy. Damn it, you're right.
Frank, I got there's a bunch of Easter eggs. We're going to run through these real quick, and then we'll rank the show officially. Dogs of Hell biker gang. You guys see, they're like in every series. We see them all the time. It opened with them. Frank he uses the name Pete Castiglione with the Lieberman family, and in the comics, that is actually their given family name that was shortened
to Castle.
Castle.
On Ellis Island.
Yes, on Ellis Island. It's very cool. Frank's reading Moby Dick. We already discussed. He's looking for his white whale. Micro at the end of the second episode where he goes, "Welcome back, Frank," which is a reference to comic arc from 2001, Garth Ennis, Steve Dillon, Marvel Knights, where they picked up a little bit of this stuff, where he also takes on the Nucci family in Welcome Back, Frank, and you see Frank at the poker game fucking shoot at the Nuccis. We got a battle van a little bit in the beginning. I think it's interesting. Frank lives in Queens in the Netflix world. Like, this is his part where
he apparently lives next door to Peter Parker.
He apparently, I think they did this because of his first appearance in Spider-Man. Who also lives in Queens. What'd you give me a Spider-Man then? Show me a Spider-Man swinging by in the background. Who gives a fuck?
You will not see that.
Just do it. Billy Russo, also from the comics. Curtis from the comics, but Curtis in the comics is a friend who turns enemy.
Does he have a fake leg in that?
I don't know.
No.
His name is the Dragon.
No, he had a very short run in the 80s where he was, it was somebody he knew before he became Punisher, winds up becoming a villain, and, Frank has to go hunt him down.
Frank's got to get his friend Turk. We got to see again.
I love seeing Turk.
I think Turk is the only one that is actually in all of them.
He is in more series than anybody else.
I think he's in every series. Like, not Claire Temple. It's fucking Turk. Turk's great.
Turk is the glue that holds together this
It
ship.
really is. We got some.
Wait, who's Turk? I'm completely
the gun dealer.
The arms dealer in the truck. The black dude. He's in it. He knows everybody.
Black guy.
He constantly gets beat up.
Yes, he's always getting beat up, and he's always
beat up and asked for information on things.
Remember when I love what was that Daredevil season 2 where he's on the roof and he's like, I don't even know what I'm doing here with you crazy motherfuckers.
The best is when he's like in Luke Cage when he's like on the roof with Cottonmouth and he gets thrown off and he's like, you Harlem N-words are crazy.
You guys are crazy with this shit.
Harlem N-words are crazy.
Turk has seen the most fucked up shit happen in these shows. Subtle reference to what happened in the Defenders. If you notice the newspaper headline at the New York Bulletin or wherever they are, it said chaos under the streets, which is like what happened in the Defenders. And then there's also, I saw someone noted this, the Red Empire State Building, which it was red at the end of Defenders for Daredevil. It's still red in the night shot. Lewis Wilson and his dad are watching Ali versus Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle from 1974, same year as Punisher's first appearance. And I guess there was a Stan Lee New York
during that
poster.
scene, I thought Lewis was going to kill his dad.
Yeah, right? They were bonding, and then he was just going to turn around and fucking...
the dad thought he was bonding, but he was just inciting him even more.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He was like, look, you don't got to do this. You got to know when to stop fighting.
You got to take it, and then you got to give it...
Yeah.
How do you think his dad feels when he's giving him this whole speech of like, you got to get back up and keep fighting, and the next thing his son does is bomb a fucking building?
Okay, Dad, I'm going to go blow myself up because you told me to. Stan Lee poster at the carousel. I don't even see that, but apparently it's there. And the news channel WHIH shows up, and it's in a lot of movies and TV shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ant-Man and whatnot. Okay, so how would you rank this?
Well, actually, I've got one more thing, Imran.
Okay, what do you got?
Maybe two.
Okay.
One Easter egg that I found out is really the most fucking weird, like, deep-cut Easter egg.
Yeah.
Is in the episode where they go and they steal the van. Frank kills one dude by slamming him through a pinball machine.
Yes, I've seen this, yes.
And that was apparently based off of an action figure run that they created for Marvel back in 2000s, where it was a Punisher action figure, and part of it was also a dead gangster on top of a pinball machine.
Yeah, you buy this toy, it's Frank, and then also coming with him is a pinball machine with a gangster embedded, smashed on it. Like, this was sold in a fucking...
That's weird.
Yes, in a package.
It was just like the weirdest thing to reference out of everything that happened with Punisher.
And that's a deep cut, too, man. Like, somebody must have had that toy and been like, hey, that looks like my toy. But they did their homework. I love the Easter eggs. Let's rank this. Anthony, start it off. Where do you rank this in the Netflix shows?
Man, I would have it third.
After?
I would say Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones season 1, then this, and then Daredevil season 2, and then the rest we can forget about.
The rest really just are a big jumble. Okay, very good. Delhauer.
Funny enough, I agree with Anthony's ranking. Just the only thing I would swap is I actually put Jessica Jones above Daredevil.
I wouldn't argue with that either.
So you got Jessica Jones at 1.
I have a trouble deciding which one I like better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think as much as Daredevil introduced everything
Yes.
and it kind of started the whole thing, I feel like Jessica Jones, it had a much deeper and more personal storyline.
It's actually a
that I
little
felt
bit
a
about
lot more
something.
invested in by the end of it. And as well as I think Kilgrave is still the best villain they've had.
Yeah, and he's going to haunt her in the next season. Rugboy, how are you ranking this?
I'm going to go with Anthony's ranking. The same with having it, I think, third, and then Daredevil 2, fourth. So Daredevil 1, Jessica Jones, this, and then we got Daredevil 2 in the top 4.
Yeah, you know what? I got to be boring too. That's exactly where I think it is. It's strong. It deserves to be up there with the first seasons of Daredevil, and same as Anthony, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, then Punisher, then Daredevil season 2, and then I'll put Luke Cage, and then the others.
Yeah, and of course, Imran has to give the whole list.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, so you like this a lot.
Yes.
Now, as a Punisher representation, where does it stand to you there? Because there have been Punisher movies of all different kinds.
Now, if you're talking about comparing it to the
cartoons,
three movies,
there's the comics,
yes.
where does this fall for you?
Well, I mean, you can't really, the comics is always going to be the top, always, because there's so many different versions. It's sacred. Yeah. So if you compare this to the Dolph Lundgren, the Thomas Jane, the Ray Stevenson movies, I still think it gets it overall better than
none of them are on. None of them hit the target.
Yeah, they all miss it, but there's
for one reason or another.
Yeah, so it's hard. I just feel like because this has more time, they've been able to flesh this out and give us a better essence of the character. Like, so Warzone, I really love.
It's a better essence of their character.
Of their version of Punisher. Now, Warzone, maybe the most Tim Bradstreet looking silent killer Terminator Punisher version that this guy doesn't fuck around.
I would put that as second, as in the Punisher.
I think so too, followed by the Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
And then the Dolph Lundgren. What do you guys think? That's a good question.
Actually, funny enough, I agree in the same sense. I think it's interesting is that if you look at it, every version that they put out, whether it's film or TV, is very reflective of the time it came out as well.
Yes.
Dolph Lundgren in the 80s, is very 80s, very Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
Tom Jane, at the point that they put it out, they were only in the Marvel Knights time of
there was
the comic.
Daredevil time.
So it had like the weird comedy to it, and it was very tongue in cheek and kind of still like PG for kids at times. But it was by the time that they did Warzone, when Garth Ennis started to finally do his Max series, that it was like hyper violent, its own thing, and just the blackest of comedy.
Super violent, super dark.
I think if they didn't have such a shitty version of Jigsaw, it would have been a passable movie. I think that's where it goes awry.
That movie came out 2008, the same year as Iron Man, and it must have... And The Dark Knight, so it got completely buried and just shoved to the side.
It should have been, because they did, the Jigsaw as the Joker.
Yeah,
I think the biggest issue that comes from it is they understood and embraced that a lot of people don't take the Punisher seriously.
Right.
That the comics are normally seen as a joke.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people who were involved in it kind of had that Batman and Robin outlook of, it's a fucking cartoon.
Which is why he's spinning on the chandelier, spraying everyone like a fucking idiot in the beginning. Come on.
I like that.
Delhauer, I contend we should do Warzone a what the fuck for Warzone.
See, the thing is with what the fuck for Warzone, I'll do it, but I fucking love that movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think that movie, if Jigsaw wasn't as over the top and Looney Bin Jim were not as over the top, I mean, and the ending was a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a movie.
It would have been decent. It would have been decent.
Yeah. Those are the three things that are holding that movie back.
He's like a fucking killing Batman in that movie.
I mean, when he blows the guy's head off in that house.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's one of the greatest moments.
That was fucking amazing.
Was that punch a hole in someone's face?
He puts the leg of a chair through somebody's face.
Yeah.
Oh,
the movie begins with him cutting a dude's head off with a knife.
Okay, he doesn't say shit, and he looks like the badass Tim Bradstreet fucking Punisher from the comics. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yes.
So also the one thing I was going to point out earlier that I found really funny. Not really a nitpick, not really an Easter egg or anything, but it's just one of those things where as I watched it, I said, oh, wow, you can tell these people aren't actually from New York.
What?
When he is talking to Micro in the second episode and he's making him do the little, wild goose chase of meet me here, meet me there.
Yeah.
the one thing he tells him is he says, "Meet me under the Pulaski Road Bridge."
Yeah.
No one in New York calls it that. It's the Pulaski Highway.
Okay. That's interesting. You know what? ER used to pull that shit all the time. Allegedly based in Chicago, but then when they would step out of the hospital, they were at the Chicago River downtown. That doesn't work. They'd always be like, meet me at these two streets that are parallel. Anybody living in Chicago can tell you these streets never cross.
Mm-hmm.
So I always hate when they do that. Like, how hard is it? Fucking pick up Google Maps. Just fucking get it right.
Another thing that I didn't get about this, Frank, is that he's supposed to be a New Yorker, and he sounds like he's a Southerner. Like his accent was all over the place.
I think that's the problem is that because Bernthal is from DC, lives out in LA, and his biggest thing was learning like the Georgia drawl for
some
doing
of that comes
Walking
through.
Dead. Is that he keeps slipping back into Shane at times.
Yes, he does. Like, this guy's from Queens. Get a fucking.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of that.
I forgot to bring that up.
It's a lot of stabby.
My biggest problem with the entire series was that fucking yell.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. He shouldn't do that.
No,
not at all.
Shouldn't do.
I get it. It's a choice, but it doesn't work.
So it is renewed. It was renewed like December 12th, like less than a month it was out. They renewed second season. But the next one we can enjoy is Jessica Jones Season 2 coming out March 8th.
I'm hoping it's good.
2018.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jessica Jones again, but I am very, very curious how the hell you can top
So we
Kilgrave.
know
Absolutely.
David Tennant is in there. He's in the cast. They're going to do like it's an illusion or it's a hallucination.
Well,
he
I think
shows up.
they're gonna explore how she got her powers.
I would like to see Patsy Walker developed and maybe even get a little Hellcat.
Yeah, maybe she turns into Hellcat. That would be good. But
they're not going to do it. But I would like to see.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't. What do you do after fucking Purple Man?
Yeah, what do you do?
What can you do? All right.
It was almost. I mean, again, a little too long, but almost perfect in terms of execution.
Absolutely.
I have been corrected via Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
My roommate Rob is in the next room and heard me.
Okay.
Apparently, yes, it is the Pulaski Skyway, not the Pulaski Highway. So even I'm wrong.
See, nobody knows.
I said it.
Look at
Yeah, Ruggs said Skyway.
Ruggs got it.
Nobody knows what the fuck the thing is called.
But no one listens to me.
Oh, you're a felty.
Well, you're a puppet, dude.
Yeah.
What rights do you have?
Puppet rights. Puppet rights. Okay, finally, we teased it at the beginning, listener. I hope you hung in there for a Matt Delhauer announcement. I'll give you a rundown. Here we go, Matt.
Here's the rundown.
Well, that doesn't feel right, but okay. The Matt Delhauer announcement that has been teased once, and basically has already been given away, so it's not exactly an exclusive announcement.
Well, not everyone is in the group. People are holding their breath.
Okay, starting early next year, I will be, in fact, launching the Ginger Geek Pod.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's short for podcast, if you're not in the know.
A new pod.
Oh, I thought you were just going to give away pods.
I was, and then I realized I don't have that money.
Little pods full of ginger geeks. It sounds adorable.
So it will be a podcast, funny enough.
Yeah.
Based on geeky things. Weird, I know, for this crowd. But it's actually, instead of being, as Anthony has already called me out once on the idea of just aping your style and stealing your crowd. It's going to be a little bit more op-ed. Every episode is going to be one major topic that is going to start off with kind of me giving my opinion on several things. Hopefully I'll be able to do a lot more roundtable discussions after that, or maybe it'll be one or two guests that I talk to. But it's going to be a little bit of a deeper dive into things like symbolism, social structure, and a lot of things that are a little deeper under the surface of some of the geekier topics and things that we love.
So you're not going to just talk Easter eggs. Great.
No, fuck you,
Easter
Imran.
eggs.
It's going to be more along the lines of like
more than Easter eggs.
I think the way that I explained it to somebody was exploring the human side of also being a fan of things.
Excellent.
Cool.
And how you can allow the geekdom to shape you into a better person instead of just kind of loving something to love something to yell.
I love it, man.
I like it.
I like yelling, but I'm going to listen to this podcast regardless.
It's about time, Delhauer. I'm so glad you decided to pull the trigger on this. Another listener and contributor getting their own show. And of course, look, you could steal our audience. Send us a promo. You guys, listeners, will definitely want to check it out. Matt does good work here. You've heard him. You cannot take What the Fuck Happened, though. Patent pending.
I've already said I will not touch it. That stays here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, but absolutely, we'll help you promote it, and that's very
I love
exciting.
Star Wars.
And Anthony's
I'm
favorite.
going to use that.
Anthony's new favorite movie is Star Wars The Last Jedi. Right up there with Batman v Superman. Anthony's a big fan.
Big fan, Doug. Big fan.
When it comes out, we will have more news for you about the Geek Street Pod. Matt, thanks for hanging out with
That's not me.
What?
Geek Street Pod is not me.
That's
You are
the
an
other guy.
ass.
That's
You are an ass. That is
You
one of our
are.
other listeners.
Yeah.
You are
Yes, that's-
fucking banned.
that's Daniel
from that show
Nosker.
already.
He's How Do I Jump?
Yes.
No,
Well, you know, the
that one
problem-
is 365 Flicks. Wait,
No,
Make
that's
sure to
different.
listen to
No,
my new
it's-
podcast.
See, here's the thing.
He's,
No, wait a
damn
minute.
it, he beat me to it.
It's Trivia Geeks. No, that's not it. Look, here's the thing: is we had so many listeners that have gotten their own shows. It gets confusing. So
I know. I got to start my own.
I love
Well,
it.
I mean,
Dave.
Imran, you
Yes.
proved that anybody could do it.
Exactly. If
Yeah.
I can do it, a fucking monkey can do it.
Oh, shit.
So, Ginger Geek Pod, we will break the first episode when it launches. Delhauer, where can the listener find you for when that happens?
When that happens, at the moment, it is still technically just gingergeekblogs.wordpress.com. I will probably make it into a legit site with an actual URL by the time I make the podcast ready. So that'll probably just be like gingergeekblogs.com at that point.
Right on.
Outside of that, they can find me on Twitter at Matt Delhauer. If they want to see pictures of my ugly mug on Instagram, I'm at Maddie Delhauer because I'm a fucking child.
Hit him on the gram, people. Ruggs, are you on the gram?
No.
Well, then where can we
The
find
only
you?
Get
gram
with
the only gram that I'm on it comes in a little white packet.
Those grams are expensive.
Yes. You can get me on Twitter at Really Rugboy.
Yes, and you can get our show, jockandnerd.com. Visit the website for links to all the places you can find us. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And tell a friend. Spread the geekery. Let's increase the Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. Thanks for listening. My name is Imran.
my name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Bitches.
Who you calling a bitch?
Yeah, that's not very feminist of you, Anthony.
Ain't never gonna get there that way.
You're never going to impregnate and spread your seed that way.
Get your hand off my penis!